All right. So property is not a tract of land. All right. The property of the United States of America is, or of anywhere, is the good deed and trust of the people. All right. It's, but private property is your own moral code and compass and integrity and self-worth and value. No price can be put on that. You can't put a price on somebody's worth, self-worth. Children are employed of your property and your heritage. All right? So there is no passing of that trust. Okay? Nor can it considered to be physical property, being that you belong to yourself. It is not an asset. A human being is not an asset. Nor can it be trespassed upon or violated by a disorderly conduct of somebody else's trespass on themselves. That would be following orders or doing a job in compliance to their incorporated business or job of their own trespass, passing the trust to themselves, their own moral code and compass, and sinning upon themselves to pass that to a third party, admissible party, to enforce a foreign code and ordinance within their own infrastructure and start becoming disorderly upon other properties. Now, a person is not public property. Now, a city is meant to maintain property, maintain their own property, while in the lieu or work may not pass the trust of the people to their job, nor can the people trust or pass that to their job or to a policy and ordinance of special code and foreign policy. This would be incorporation of the trust of the people. And this would be incorporation of policy or of good deed and trust of the people. Because that policy or ordinance or city code that is feeding upon property and destruction of civil duties and civil or domestic violence and disorderly conduct and passing of the trust, because it is a Nazi encampment, because it doesn't see what it's doing. A tract of land is much different. A tract of land is dirt, trees, soil, rocks, pebbles, sand, natural foundations of a tract of land. Okay, liquid hydration. Now, water or water is different than a riverway. Okay, where they start impeding and imposing their property and disorder upon the land is where they start fusing this together through loopholes. All right? This is the state that a tract of land is property. When my property is my children. Okay? They're employed of my property and my wife's. They are my wife's, okay? That is the marriage, my child, between me and her, and cannot be viewed as land or physical asset. That means that where they're infusing that a physical asset and a tract of land be in proper condition, which is much different. All right? It's not disorderly or a wreck. Now this is where they're tying shit together. Now force of disorder, by impeding and imposing upon an individual and causing disorder by deprivation of property and theft of property. That means they're serving an attitude or a servitude of bullshit upon you to thieve your property and divorce you of your children. Okay? Now, a city is not proper. It is disorder. They have destroyed the property to build physical assets, or called houses or buildings, within inside of a city. But they cannot force upon someone's home. That is their union of God, their child, themselves, their moral, their integrity. So this disorderly conduct and domestic assault and domestic violence and destruction of property and divorcement of property, and saying that there's no camping on property. You bet your ass there's camping on property. I stand my grounds. I stand my independence. I stand my moral integrity. I stand for who I am, and I stand for who my children are. Why they launched continuous consecutive assaults against my person, against my children, and against my wife, or our marriage, our child, two marriages, which is consummation in the use of a ceremony. Then to come back and try to divorce you and wean you from your children and subdivide them by terror, by fear, by saying bad things, by depriving you of your life, land, and liberty deliberately by hunting you to subdivide you from your children and then sell them as property. To sell them as tracts of land. Thinking that they can buy property. You cannot buy property. That is something you must maintain to be proper. Now, there is no camping on property by a disorder or a city police or city code enforcement and state and theft of identity and theft of property and instating authority over your property by disorder. That is biting. That's like a dog bite. They're feeding upon the people. That is a prison Nazi camp expecting you to mind their disorder so they can make you a source of revenue and tax you property tax, tax you your children, tax you your family, and hold you on the street and hunt you every fucking day and tax you of your life, block you of life, land, liberty, your own freedom of will, your own freedom of expression. So they just gave me a ticket saying no camping on property. Exactly. The cops shouldn't be camping on my property, huh? That means the motherfucker up there right now listening that's in my property repeating to somebody else should not be on my fucking property copying to another fucking portion in communication. To cop to something. Finding me guilty of my own emotion for feeling guilt for somebody else's sorrow or pain. Impeding on my infrastructure of my own reality because they're subdivided by self-denial and are fucking worthless, feel worthless because they've denied themselves because they are a disorderly conduct and don't maintain and have destroyed their heritage because they believe in Christ or somebody else's God instead of their own good orderly direction or self. Because they believe in their fucking churches and their fucking bullshit, or they're buying their bullshit Bible. Fuck their Bible. You can read it and see what it says, and there's some truth in there, yeah, but you can fucking follow your heart and your own self-expression and emotion. You don't get to come to my good orderly direction. You'll never enter into my fucking good orderly direction or my children. You sit there and fucking up there and fucking your dream state that you think's a heavenly state while feeding upon me and killing all life and land deliberately because you're scared and you still have a flesh body down here that's on autopilot and you guys are sitting there moving people around and veiling them and moving them from place to place. There is no death. I am an original light, the original property of the United States of America. Why? Because I was born without a fucking father. I was a father to my children. I'm not your fucking Christ. You're your own Christ. You should eat upon your own fucking wrongdoings, your own soul, your own soil. I am the base foundation, yes, but that doesn't mean that you get to dig into me, take what I have, and because they said you'll be forgiven for your trespass. Because they gave you rights that you don't have. Because you need to be self-centered. You will not be forgiven. For destroying me and my little girls and my family, you think that I'm gonna fucking forgive you? If I did, you wouldn't forgive yourself. For creating a mutiny and being insubordinate to your own flesh, which you came to this soil, to this earth, to be a part of, and sit upon my fucking soil that I keep open while you attack me every fucking day. It's because in reflection, while I was viewing, those are independent, and there's good people of independence that are in connection. And when you believe in yourself and you model yourself, you already have a portion to who I originally was. But that don't give you fucking interest into who I am of my own private property or my children of my own personal doings. That means that you work and care for the land and your own property and your own family and your own heritage and build your own motherfucking property. That means that you care for the earth and you fucking have an exchange with that. And you build your own way, your own life, and your own due process to live it and see it the way you are. You don't follow me. You follow me, then everybody's doing the same thing, right? And so when I'm trying to do something, everybody else is trying to do it, and then that resource is gone. I go buy a pack of fucking cigarettes, I will like doing something, and then it's gone because everybody's doing the same fucking thing. And then you guys get ahead of me, and now every time I try to get something, anything, you guys are ahead of me and taking what I have my income because you're in between my light and my identification of what it is and in repetition cycles and ahead of the fucking of what I am, which is your fucking past, and depriving me of everything. So every time that I do something new, you do it and plug a fucking hole. So when you guys, if you guys ever do divorce me of my property, my children, you will rip apart all life itself. Every fucking planet, every fucking star there is, you'll rip the whole motherfucker apart, which is worse than a nuclear event. You'll wipe out Saturn, Pluto, you'll wipe out everything, all right? Everything, every fucking property, because you fucking jackasses can't fucking believe in yourselves, you fucking insubordinate motherfuckers.